Oops, I did it again. It's another book haul. Um, it hasn't been that long since the last book haul. But sometimes this kind of stuff just happens. Sometimes you just live your life and all of a sudden you picked up like 15 books. Some of these I had for a little while. This is not actually all of them. I got this one too. Most of these I picked up for free in like various book boxes, and none of these I bought new. All of these were obtained for not as much money, but sadly I didn't keep track of how much I spent. In the last video I told you exactly, but I estimate it must be around the same per book. So yeah, let's get into them. This is by Oliver Sacks. Der Mann, der seine Frau mit einem Hut verwechselte. The Man Who Mistook His Wife for a Hat. Was this? No, this was written in English. Yes, could be. With that name, he could be a German writer. I think this is just non-fiction, mainly. If I understood this correctly, just like some short stories about people who escape normalcy with like mental illnesses and stuff, so it seems very interesting. I gave one of my books that I didn't need anymore to the big book box in my neighborhood. As you may recall, I had 3 copies of Scourge Atlas, and I kept 2 of them, but one of them I gave away. And I found this one, Orlando by Virginia Woolf, in this Wordsworth Classic Edition, which a lot of people dislike. But this cover I don't think is too bad. A lot of people don't like the covers. I had a tough time with Virginia Woolf. I read To the Lighthouse, but I was also on a holiday, like on a working holiday, where I went on a holiday with a bunch of kids and I needed to take care of them. And I thought it would be nice because there was a lighthouse near to our house, but I couldn't get into it, and it didn't do much for me, that book. But since absolutely everybody in BookTube loves Virginia Woolf, I figured I should give her another chance with this. Quite short little thing. I'll get to it in time. Then we got this, Breasts and Eggs. I also picked this up in the book box by Mieko Kawakami, one of the more recent books from, like, I think from this decade, right? 2020, yeah. So that's kind of exciting for me because free bookmark again. Nice. I usually don't really read much contemporary stuff, except for like Murakami and stuff like that, but it's very nice to get something like this, especially because I love Japanese literature, and Mieko Kawakami has been climbing the stairs of fame quite quickly, I think. So, very excited to check her out. We got a Homofaber by Max Frisch. This is basically German Lolita, kind of. I had to read this when I was in school, but it's been so long ago that I completely forgot about it. But it's basically about a romance between a father and a daughter. That's what this is. Max Frisch is also someone that I would like to read a bit more of. He seems to have written some very interesting things. Yes, Jenny Erpenbeck. I also, while I was reading Kairos, which I have now finished, which I'll talk about in my monthly week recap video. While I was reading this, I also found this, Heimsuchung, which, spoiler alert, I liked Kairos a lot, so I'm pretty sure I'm also gonna like this. And, I'm, as you may know, if you watch any of my other videos, I'm a huge fan of German literature, but, there's, almost no women in there. It's mostly just like old dudes, you know? And I'd like to keep it a bit more diverse. So, like, if you have any recommendations in German literature, then please tell me about them. I'm also interested in female writers that wrote like, you know, in that time where the other guys wrote, like in the early 1900s. There cannot be many of them, but there must be a few. So that's something I would like to know more about. Next up, we got Elias Canetti, which some book that I read mentioned. I think it was the Ernst Jünger book, because I was Googling him and I didn't realize I already had a book by him. It's Die Stimmen von Marrakesch. It's another one of these, you know. I kind of started collecting these Süddeutsche Zeitung editions. I currently own 4 of them, and there are more than 50. So that's gonna be fun to collect as many of them as I can. Then these 2 I bought for very cheap. I think they were... No, wait, this is the wrong one. This is the right one. I think they were both €2, maybe, or 3. Didn't spend a lot of money on them. But this is obviously, you know, the continuation to that whole Thomas Mann Joseph story, which I should start. I own most of them now, so I guess I could start reading them. And then I have Der Trafikant by Robert Seethaler. I read another book by him, which I was given, and I loved it. So I'm pretty sure I'm gonna like this too, if it's written in the same style. Okay, and then we have, of course, another box, which just arrived. So how do I get this open without exposing my address? So I confess I did that whole thing again, where I was just looking for one book in particular, and then they do that whole thing as most like online resellers do. Like, if you spend this amount of money, then you get free shipping. And I was looking for this mammoth right here, which it's a psychology. How do you call these? Lexicon? Which, I study at uni now, and one of my professors keeps referencing this, and we like keep having to look up stuff, and it's all online, but I kind of like to have a book about it, you know? I don't see myself really like carrying this around with me, and I'm not a psychologist, but still I thought it might be handy to have something like this to study for exams and stuff like that. And usually, as you probably can figure, this is like expensive. Very, very expensive. It's usually about $70-80, and I found it for, it was 90% on sale. I spent €7 on it, and I could not pass on? How do you say that? I couldn't pass up on a deal like that. And then, they were like, if you have to pay like €3 shipping unless you spend €20. And I was like, I'm not paying €3 shipping, then I would need to pay $10. So I just bought more books, and I paid 26 instead. So I paid 26 instead of 10. So whoever came up with that marketing scheme, it most definitely works on me. Let's check these out. Usually I just go on my Goodreads want to read list, and I just see what I can find. Roland Barthes, Mythen des Alltags. It's another one of those where I don't really know anything about them, except that they were on my reading list. So we got some Clarice Lispector finally. I was really craving another one of her books. It's quite a short one, but She is, I think when I read more of her stuff, she's gonna become one of my favorite authors. Pretty sure. We got Hermann Ungar, which I finished The Maimed by him recently. Funny enough, this also has boobs on the cover. And The Maimed, well, I'm gonna talk about that at length in my monthly recap, but I loved that book. And so I ordered another one of his immediately. He never really became super popular. Oh, look at that. That is beautiful. And he also he didn't really write that much stuff, so it's probably, this is one of the more famous ones, but I think this one and The Maimed are like his most famous ones, but all the other ones are probably long out of print and hard to get, so maybe that's something that I'll hunt for, because I'll talk about this in the next video, but very good. Then, this is gonna be very heavy, but this is something that I wanted to read for ages. It's, well, I shouldn't spoil myself, right? This is Wir Kinder vom Bahnhof Zoo, which is about a couple of, like, very young kids who grow up in Berlin, and they get exposed to all the bad stuff that you could imagine. They get hooked on heroin when they were, like, 11 years old or something like that. So and one of them, Christiane F., she talks about it, and man, this one I think I'm gonna read quite soon. Such a dark story. I also worked in foster care, so this is especially interesting to me. And then this is the last one already. We got Carson McCullers, The Heart is a Lonely Hunter, which apparently was an Oprah's book club. I know that some booktuber mentioned this book, but I don't remember who it was, sadly. But also another one. I don't really know much about it, but at some point I was interested in it and I put it on my list, so I'm probably gonna enjoy it. So, let me show you. This is, you can count them now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13. We got 14 here. This and this big thing. So, that's the thumbnail right there. And, I'm probably gonna binge on some of these in a while. I need to change, this is to keep track of how many unread books I have, and I've been working my way down, and now I'm basically back to where I started, but hey, that's how this kind of stuff works, right? I hope this was interesting to you. I'll keep you updated on stuff that I read, and I hope you enjoyed this video. See you next time.